And hello, we are live with our first edition of Joel's Untitled Basketball Show. I'm Tomas Greer. We're going to get into some NBA playoffs today. We have a special guest. Here's our host, the professional gambler, Joel Wachowski.
We're talking basketball. We love that basketball. Hello, weirdos of the internet. What's up, Townie News fans? What's up, Fitzy community? I am Joel, the Lions fan, and I am here talking NBA playoffs. Wow, what a world. It's a beautiful Friday, and it could be raining. It could be hailing. It could be snowing. Am I right, Toe? Because it's a beautiful day because of what starts tomorrow. And will you just pontificate on what an awesome weekend it's going to be after this bubble playoffs, after this Super Bowl that I'm sure we got a lot of Boston fans here. They had to suffer through that. But here, this is the real deal. And I could not be more excited.
Let's do it. NBA playoffs. It's time. I mean, we got a treat with this play-in. It's been pretty exciting so far.
We had a treat with this play-in, and I think we have a treat with our guest today. And to let you guys know, a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of the NFL fan therapy, the Fitzy GFY community. Sometimes I write a few jokes. Sometimes I'm not just writing lion shit, not just going on saying horrible things about my team, but I love writing jokes for this guy. He plays the agent here. He's one of the great basketball minds, and he has an awesome Substack covering the NBA playoffs. Say hello to the agent himself, Mike Zakarian.
Wow, what an intro. What's up, guys? How we doing?
What's going on,
We're
Mike?
doing good. I returned to the court today. I think you did the same too, right?
I ended up I was on the precipice of playing, and then my body reminded me I'm not there yet.
All you got to do is show up. We saw Kevin Durant pop an Achilles. All he did was show up. He's fine. Be the Kevin Durant baby.
That's true. I get comped to Kevin Durant quite a bit, so it makes sense. We're starting there.
And okay, so I don't think you've ever hung on the stream with me, Mike. I'm going to give my opinions. I'm going to pontificate. I'm going to try and help our viewers make a little bit of money, but I'm okay to be wrong. You could tell me I'm wrong if you're in the chat. If you have a question, if you have a stance, tell me I'm wrong. And here's the hypothesis I'm going into this postseason with. Here's where we'll get the ball running. I think the NBA started watching in 93. Best it's ever been in my lifetime. And I would say 7 teams have a legit shot of winning the title. That's the number I have. I got 3 teams that can win because of their defense at the end of the games. Milwaukee, Philly, Clippers. I got 2 teams that can win because of the offense, Denver, Brooklyn. I got 1 team that can win because of our viewers, Boston, and 2 more because of flexible rosters that match up with anybody. And those teams are playing each other, Suns and Lakers. Am I missing anybody, guys?
I don't think you're missing anyone. I think you overcounted though. But go on.
Best case scenario. Best case scenario. I know there's things the Nuggets will need to go in their favor. I know the Phoenix Suns have things they need, but from optimistically, like the bar of a title team, I have 7 teams that I would let in the club, and I wouldn't be upset about it.
I just feel so bad for the Suns. I feel like I would have agreed with you until that matchup. It feels like they're drawing dead in that matchup. I root for DeAndre Ayton. I really like him, but God, he hasn't shown any sort of life that he can hang with AD.
Absolutely. But hey, do we want to start in the West? Do we want to start in this series? You think college players have more heart? Yeah, they also have bigger bank accounts if they play for Patino. What up, though? Okay, so let's talk Suns Lakers. Toe, would you mind pulling up the series price for this bad boy?
Oof,
it'll be on the Action Network. But okay, I am a Suns fan for this postseason. I've adopted them, and I'm terrified. But if I care about this franchise, I don't even mind that this is a tough series, because the 2 things I want to see are better development from Ayton and Bridges. Matching up with LeBron and Anthony Davis is a pretty good opportunity for that.
A pretty good opportunity for them to, like you're saying, like accelerate the maturation process.
Yeah, I mean, they've had great years, but let's see them do it for real, right?
Yeah.
Like they're getting thrown into the fire here. They're walking over hot coals. And that being said, I think the Lakers are going to roll them in 5 or 6 games.
Yeah, I'm with you though. I'm rooting for the Suns. I want the Suns to win. I won't be betting on them, but I will be rooting. I'll be rooting like hell for them because I think this sucks for Chris Paul too, right? It's just like more evidence of like, oh, Chris Paul can't get it done in the playoffs, which is like, come on, we can't use this series to add on to that though.
And here's the deal: the Suns, they're kind of like the cursed voodoo doll of the NBA franchises. Chris Paul is another cursed voodoo doll. We have all the dolls, Annabelle dolls, hanging out, working together. And even if they survive this series, even if they win the Western Conference, what would be more painful for Suns fans than losing a title to Nash and D'Antoni?
Gosh, that would be so sad.
And with the Suns, I think we could be seeing the most painful possible outcome. So that's just the way it's always worked out for Chris Paul in the Suns franchise. That's the way I think it'll go.
Man, I'd love to see him go. Like, if they lose to in the finals, though, that's a W. Like, that's a W for the Suns. If they somehow got out of the first round, honestly, if they get out of the first round, it's a W.
Yeah. It's a lot to ask for, but it's a terrible reward. Like, you work so hard, you get second place, and then you get LeBron James first round. Like, that's terrible.
And here's the deal: if the Suns were to go on, their first 2 matchups, I'm gonna say whoever gets out of this section of the Western bracket is my title pick. I think you're going to have the winner of this series play the winner of the Clippers-Mavs series, which will be the Clippers, spoiler alert. And those are probably the 2 LA teams are probably the front runners, and the Suns are the team that, as a basketball fan, I can talk myself into. So do we have any hope in the Suns? Are we putting money down on the Suns, or are we hammering the Lakers in this one?
Lake Show.
Yeah,
I think Lakers in 6. I think Chris Paul maybe could get them to 7 and they won't win it, but 6 is my call for this one.
I think if all things are equal, right? If we're saying everybody's healthy, it's Suns in 5 Lakers in 5 or 6. I think the one hope that they have, right? The one hope that they have is the Lakers looked like trash against the Warriors the other night. And so if they're like, hey, maybe LeBron's not fully back yet, and AD is going to grab his knee or ankle at least like 3 times in a series, right? Like, we're going to have at least a couple of scares. So
how many eye pokes will we have?
Yeah, not enough.
And if we just get a series where it would somehow be Lakers, Mavericks, between Doncic and Davis, everyone would be down on the ground holding a sprained ankle for about 2 hours each night.
with Luka at least like 35 times just doing this to the ref. Like, come on. If I were a ref, like having to handle a series with LeBron and Luka, I would wear noise canceling headphones like I'm an airport worker. It's a foul. And hey, I think it's easy to hate the Lakers. I think it's, the last year, my hat's off to the bubble team. I'm not really going to hold it against them because the turnaround was extremely tough for this squad. But I still like this roster better than last year's Lakers roster. It hasn't gelled, but if it does, I think they could repeat, and I would be so impressed by this ring. Yeah, I thought it was pretty wild down the stretch when Drummond, Harrell, and Schroeder all weren't playing. And like, those were their key pickups. That's how we're like, in the offseason, we're like, oh my God, they got the 6th man of the year. They picked up Schroeder, upgraded point guard. They got Drummond. Oh my God. And like, none of them could sniff the floor down in crunch time, which I'm sure some of that was matchup dependent, but that, I don't know, that was kind of eye opening that you're still running out Wesley Matthews out there.
And has anyone had a worse year than Montrezl Harrell? That guy got exposed and lost under the bright lights of the Lakers. You have to do more than just flex and grab a couple offensive rebounds. A lot of matchups that dude has trouble staying on the floor. And I'm going to be honest, this is a little embarrassing to admit. I own a Montrezl Harrell jersey.
Wow.
Direct from China, my friends. That's where you want them from.
A Clippers jersey or a Lakers jersey?
It's Clippers. It's
Okay.
I wear it to play in Bed-Stuy, and I get a wonderful nickname, bitch ass white boy.
Perfect.
All right, so I think we're good on this series. I think it's going to be painful for the Suns, and you're going to see a lot of Laker car flags all over from Bandwagon Nation. LeBron, amazing shot the other night. Not a great team performance, but when you got that level of talent, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I'm with you.
True.
All right, Mike, which series? I will give you the board. Tell us where to go in the West, and let's dish about it.
Dude, can we go Denver, Portland? That's the one I'm the most excited about.
Same, because I'm a little bit of a gambler. I like to make a little bit of money. And if we're talking title bets, I like the Nuggets at 28-0. That's the best value on the board. And they're an underdog in this series that I'm pretty sure they should be a favorite in.
That's wild to me that they are an underdog. And I honestly am blaming mainstream podcasts or mainstream sports podcasts this week. I feel like that's everyone's sexy pick right now. Is they're like, oh, the Blazers top 5 are actually pretty strong and the Nuggets are weak. Like, who's guarding Michael Porter Jr. in this series?
Every year we have to talk ourselves into like a team we know won't win the championship because they got Robert Covington. I don't want to give Robert Covington that much credit. He's not Robert Horry 2.0.
No. And I think, right, like Covington has to guard Aaron Gordon. I think, right? I think that's the 4-on-4 matchup. So you're telling me Norman Powell's bodying up Michael Porter Jr.? He's going to go for 30 like every game.
Yeah. And here's the deal. I know Jamal Murray's out, but is the offense any worse with Jamal Murray out on the court? I mean, you have more possessions running through Jokic. He's going to find the most high percentage look for his teammates. And I thought Jamal Murray kind of overperformed last year. I haven't seen them miss a beat whatsoever. I've seen this offense only get better as the season goes on. Why are they an underdog here? That's crazy.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, Dame's probably going to average 50 points. Like Campazzo's going to be covering Dame. I feel like Campazzo's got a little Marcus Smart in him where you're going to get at least like 2 or 3 ball taps on defense from Campazzo.
And that's what they need in Denver. They need a spicy Euro doing cheap shots because the team, they don't have any real like character or toughness to it. But he's
Argentinian.
He balled over he came from the Spanish league last year, right?
Yeah, but where he's from is from Argentina.
Yeah, but a lot of Argentinians are actually German. Study your history, Toe.
Got it.
And you know what? We've seen the Blazers. They had the dream postseason last year. They went as far as they could have gone. Every moment has kind of gone in Damian Lillard's favor the past 5 years. And though I love Dame, he's got to run out at some point. It's Jokic's league. He's the MVP. And I know he gets the Dirk comparisons, but I don't think he'll get the first round MVP Dirk dovetail.
No. I think if they were heavily favored, you could talk me into betting on the Blazers, right? Like you could talk me into that. But if you're saying that they're the favorite, that makes no sense to me. I just don't see it. Jokic is going to carve him up. Absolutely.
He optimizes the offense for everyone there. And maybe we bet on the Nuggets here, but if the Nuggets lose, you can talk me into any bet on the over of how much weight Jokic gains over the offseason.
He's like, yeah, this weight loss program did me nothing. I got to put the pounds back on.
Yeah, a lot of people are to pick up the bottle when they're depressed for Jokic. It's a 2-liter of Mountain Dew. Shouts to Caron Butler.
Yeah.
Okay. And now Clippers Mavericks. This one, am I crazy? I think that we might be seeing a Clippers 4, Clippers 5 situation.
Yeah, I think so.
Man, that's probably what's happening, but I hate the Clippers. I hate them so much. I can't even. I feel like I have to give the Mavericks 1 or 2 games just out of hate.
What do you hate about the Clippers? How did this team become so hateable?
Paul George drives me nuts. And I understand, or I don't understand because I wasn't in the bubble, but I will give anyone a pass about like the whole bubble experience. That was probably, I'm sure that was insane to try to come back from that. But he comes out like right away and is blaming Doc Rivers for how he was used. Yo, that's not why you hit the side of the backboard. Like, why are we blaming Doc on that? Like, what are you talking about? So I can't, and he is balled out this year. He has been awesome when he's been healthy, but like, God, I can't stand him. I can't.
And I think he is balled out because that hairline looks artificial to me. As a bald man, that hairline on Paul George is too good.
You're sniffing it out?
Yeah, 100%. That is not a real hairline. That's why I hate Paul George. And I don't give players a pass on the bubble because they stayed in nicer hotels than any hotel I've ever been in. They ate better meals than I will ever had. I played basketball this morning. Am I going to blame my sleeping arrangements for missing a jumper? No, I missed a jumper. Not my concierge.
Do you think outside of Luka, what do you need from the Mavericks in order to make this a series? Right, that's my biggest concern with them is that like Porzingis is kind of a shell of himself, but still can like put up points. But then after him, was it Tim Hardaway Jr.?
Yeah, and last year Tim Hardaway Jr. had the best like stretch of his career in that series. That's not happening again. Like there were all these stories about how he worked with a special shooting coach, and I haven't heard those stories this year.
No.
So Clippers in 5, a pissed off Clippers team in 5. Get out of here, Mavericks. I think they're the worst postseason team in the West. And the blogosphere, the same people who hyping up the Blazers, they're the ones who put Luka in the Pantheon like a couple games into his career.
Yeah, that happened quickly.
All right. And let's talk Utah Jazz verse ? Is it? I think it'll be Memphis, actually. Yeah, I think so. What team has more play-in experience than the Grizzlies?
You're not wrong. Yeah, I don't know. I guess you could make the case that the Warriors got so close to the 7 seed. They've got like a little hangover from that game. I guess you'd make that case. But I don't know. I said Curry, man. Curry's on like another level right now.
He is, but I think I know I was kind of joking about the play-in experience, but those two teams met a week ago and Memphis was in control and they let the game slip away in the last like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think they do have the blueprint to beat this team. And I think they're just so much deeper than Golden State. If you miss on a first round pick, that's going to set back your franchise. And James Wiseman, I think I could take James Wiseman.
Yeah, I love that confidence.
In what? In a basketball game?
Yeah, in basketball game. He is currently injured. I will point that out. Yeah, he's under 21, so I'll buy him beer, so he'll let me win.
There you go. I like that. Yeah, that's a lot deeper. And like, is Draymond Green not allowed to shoot anymore?
I think Draymond's imposing that.
Yeah, he knows better. What do you have? 2 points in the last game?
Yeah, his lines are wild now. He'll go like 2 points, 15 boards, 12 assists. It's like, what?
I respect it though. I respect it. Like I respect a guy who knows he cannot score, just doing everything else.
And I will say, I think the hate on Draymond is overblown because the way that dude plays, it's gonna wreck his body. He's been guarding dudes 4 inches taller than him his whole career. He's been grabbing defensive rebounds and leading the fast break. I play the same way, and I feel horrible from pickup basketball. Draymond should be a quadriplegic.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it feels like he will fall off a cliff at some point. And I still like Draymond. I mean, the way Draymond and Curry play together is so awesome. Like, it's just fun watching them run around. But, like, the Warriors need him to get buckets. Like, he needs to score, like, at least 6 points.
And you know what? Probably not in the cards for old Dre, and we just got to love him anyway. You could tell he watched a little bit too much Ben Wallace growing up in Saginaw.
Future Hall of Famer Ben Wallace.
Thank you. I'm attending that Hall of Fame induction actually to cheer Ben Wallace and Boo Chris Webber. I'm going to be the first person to boo a Hall of Fame induction, which I have the right as a Detroiter and current student at the University of Michigan.
There you go.
Okay, should we move on to the Eastern Conference, the intriguing East?
Wait, do we think whoever Utah plays just rolls?
Yeah, like
Jazz and 6 either way. I think there's going to be enough scoring on either team to keep up with them. I do think the Jazz have like a fatal flaw in their roster building where they don't really have anyone to guard the LeBron, Kawhi, KD types that you're going to run into on like a route to a championship. So
the one thing I'm excited about with the like a potential Warriors matchup, I don't think the Warriors could beat the Jazz, but like I think there is a scenario where that pick and roll starts getting wild, and you keep seeing like Rudy on Curry
on the outside, just getting danced on.
Yeah.
And Steph Curry has always had a knack for getting Rudy Gobert off the floor.
Yeah,
he's made that dude appear in less NBA games than the COVID shutdown.
Wow. Slam dunk.
Did that joke work? I'm not sure it did, but I
think so. I think so.
Nah, screw the Jazz. They don't have any fans. I don't think their fans are allowed to have the internet, and I get all my news from Vernon Maxwell's Twitter account.
This is a great follow.
Yeah. Okay, so in the East, we have the Sixers versus the Wizards So we just saw the Wizards credibly throw a game, right?
100%. 100%. I thought Russ was hurt. I was like really concerned for Russ being like, I thought the Pacers were going to win that game with Russ playing like he did against the Celtics. And then he came out and he was Superman. So he's fine.
Give it up for Russell Westbrook wearing 3 pieces of leather, walking into the TD Garden and then giving no effort. Truly a heroic showing. And you know what? I kind of like the Wizards roster. I would give them a chance against Philadelphia if they had anyone other than my least favorite NBA coach of all time. What up, Scott Brooks?
Oh, my God.
In every aspect of that dude's life, his playing career, his coaching career, his dressing, he's just a knockoff version of Steve Kerr, baby.
Interesting.
I love that. My thing with like he finally figured it out in that Pacers game. You can't have Alex Len on a playoff roster. I think that's his fatal flaw. Every time Alex Len touches the floor, I'm like, Scott, you're gonna lose your job, man.
Absolutely, especially with them finding like pretty effective center play off the G League rosters, and like they did such a good job like accounting for Thomas Bryant, who was a very good player for them last year.
Very good.
Tore his ACL, and they like were able to cultivate this great center rotation on the fly and then play Alex Len way too much.
What are you doing? Like, come on. But yeah, I'm with you. I think the Sixers roll though. I don't. Maybe we have a couple close games, but if this goes more than 5, I would be surprised. I think Matisse Thybulle is gonna. Between Thybulle and Simmons are just going to cause fits. Like we'll see Russ get a quadruple double in one of these games with like 15 turnovers. Like we're going to see one of those.
And Westbrook fans will still be like, he got triple double. Oh wow, Westbrook. He's somehow the most impressive player I've ever seen live, and someone who I could just never think about again and be fine with.
He is though. When he's one of the fastest people I've ever seen live.
Yeah,
when he gets going. And
probably the most entertainment you could get out of watching the Wizards this season wouldn't be them in this game, wouldn't be them versus Celtics. It's at their practices, and you just say, hey, Russell Westbrook, will you guys foot race for me?
It's Smith.
Yeah. Fastest player in the NBA for 10 years straight. That's like one of the biggest achievements in the history of human athletics.
That, and he's played for like 17 teams, right? I think Ish is.
He's been all over.
Yeah, he's touched them all.
Yeah, him and Ryan Fitzpatrick must have some awesome text messages back and forth.
Well, they're both in Washington now, right? Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We get them a podcast.
Okay, so that one will be fun. The Sixers, they probably could have been at this level 2 years ago. Thank God they had the worst basketball people ever hired because, Boston got a little bit more success out of that span. And now they've put it all together. This team is awesome. Tobias Harris is unlocked. Ben Simmons is weirdly hated, and Embiid is kind of arrived as everything he could ever be, which is still somehow not enough.
Yeah. I'm excited. I really am excited. I mean, that's further down the playoff run, but I'm excited to see, hopefully if we get like a Sixers Nets, Sixers Bucks thing, it should be a bloodbath. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. And it's going to be Sixers. You can pencil in their route to the Eastern Conference Finals right now, because there's a 4 or 5 seed that matchup that's going to just feed the beast at the end of it.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to
That's hate. That's hate. That is hate.
Come on, Toe. Bring up the lower third. We're going to shit out.
First of all, they're not even on here on the captions, but it's more hate.
Sorry. I was typing up the captions thinking, what teams are playoff squads? What teams have have a full rotation? I respect.
Like, who is missing in the East? What team is missing? Well, let's go.
Okay, I didn't make a caption for the Knicks. All right, I messed up. I just want to see. I'm sorry. I know that, Toe, you're probably a big fan of these Knicks teams.
Yes. Well, no. This series has me torn because Gallinari is my favorite player, obviously. And I want to see him average to like 30, which he won't. And I also want the Knicks to win. But I kind of got the Hawks winning this one. If you ask me, I got the Hawks winning.
Yeah.
But go for it.
I like that. I like that take.
I got the Hawks here. I got the Hawks, and I don't think it'll be close, because you can't really evaluate this as a 4 versus 5, can you? This Hawks team under McMillan is not actually this Hawks team.
I know.
Yeah. I also don't think this Knicks team is a real 4 or 5 seed.
No.
It's a condensed season.
I know. I think it is it is wild, the drop off between 3 and 4. I mean, the Knicks are still like super fun, but I think they are overcompensating is not the right word.
Yeah.
What's the right word?
They overachieved. They overachieved this year.
It's almost like they're a Tom Thibodeau team.
Right.
Every Tom Thibodeau team, they just work their asses off for a 4 seed. And I think this is kind of my 2 favorite head coaching jobs. And like the Knicks, it's like they're getting the most out of the sum of the parts.
Mm-hmm.
The Hawks, like Nate McMillan figured out what was already a very talented roster, a couple tweaks, a couple egos massaged, and boom, top 10 team in the NBA. The Knicks, Tibbs works some magic there.
I was looking at this today. I was writing something up, and like I think Randall will be the best player in this series. Like he's gonna average like 30 and 10, because they can't. I mean, John Collins is not gonna be able to stop Randall. And I think in the 3 times they played this year, 3 or 4 times, like Randall just obliterated them. But after Randall, I would take like Trae Young, I would take Bogdanovich, I would take Capella, Collins, and I feel like DeAndre Hunter's back too. Like DeAndre Hunter, who was balling before the injury. And so I would take all of those guys before the Knicks' next best player, which is RJ. Is it RJ?
I mean, I like Derrick Rose in that mix.
Rose
he's
too.
He's been playing like crazy these last 2 weeks. Like he's been off the charts. Yeah,
he has been, and especially because he's coming off the bench too. So he's just going to light up like whoever the Hawks second unit is. That's a good call. Rose is a good call. But I think the series goes the full way. I think it's like a 6 or 7 game series, but I think the Hawks are just too deep, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, this Hawks rotation is awesome. And I think if their big men, Capella and John Collins, can just kind of hang with the Knicks even a little bit, all of the wings on Atlanta are just kind of better, deeper, more variety of looks than anything the Knicks have to offer. I think the Hawks are going to win this one. My money's on the Hawks. My heart is on the Hawks. And I just watching New Yorkers deal with that and then have to watch them crawl on the Brooklyn bandwagon is going to be amazing.
I'm excited for people to see Bogdanovich too, because I know he was over in Sacramento and there's been like 3 people that have watched the Kings game regularly. So that dude is a killer, and he's gonna like take over some games. And I think people are expecting him to be a bench guy that comes off and scores, but I like really, he can do a little bit of everything. I love that dude. So I mean, I'm excited for Bogdanovich with close games.
And, you know, it's nice. My favorite thing about him, Bogdanovich and Bojan Bogdanovich, absolutely hate each other, can't be in the same room. I think there is probably a civil war between their two countries, but it's more fun to leave that part out of it.
Yeah. And just a name thing.
Yeah. I hate Joel Malkowski. Okay, so Brooklyn versus Boston. Mike, you're a Boston guy, right?
Yeah.
Is there any hope in this bad boy?
No, it's like this is. I was saying this a couple weeks ago, and no, everyone was pissed off at me about this. I wish they pulled the Toronto Raptors. They had a clear path with like a month left to just like slip into the lottery, quick rebuild. It's not even a full rebuild. You don't have to sacrifice anything because this team right now in this year has no ceiling. So just go get a top 10 pick and then come back next year. But instead, we not only do we beat the Wizards, who apparently we're trying to lose, now we just get waxed in 4 or 5 games. Like they might get one game if Tatum goes for 50 and Kemba goes for 30 and like that. But like Grant Williams is going to be playing meaningful minutes.
There's going to be a lot of meaningful minutes from Grant Williams. And hey, at least they're going to be meaningful to Grant. He'll have some memories of his brief time as an NBA player.
Grant Williams is going to be the only one to make DeAndre Jordan look relevant again. Like he's going to single-handedly get DeAndre Jordan another contract.
Well, I mean, I think that is Kyrie and KD already did that. They're like, hey, can you just give DeAndre a contract? We like him.
And this isn't Grant Williams' fault. He shouldn't be put in this position. He should not. This is not Grant. I'm not putting this on Grant. Grant, if you're watching, I think you're a good dude. This isn't your fault.
But that's also on the Celtics fans who saw every wing develop time after time again. Last year, every Celtics fan in my life was like, you got to pay attention to Grant Williams.
Yeah, smart.
Now I am paying attention to Grant Williams, and I'm wondering why I was asked to.
Yeah. I mean, once the Jaylen Brown injury came down, just like wrap it up. Like, why are we trying? Wrap it up. Go get it. You still could have gotten like the 14th or 13th pick with that. Just lose that game, guys.
Wow, Mike wants a Celtics tank. He's afraid of the Nets, but you know what? Quarantine's done some crazy things to all our minds.
I mean, right. There's no way this goes a 6th game, right?
I mean, maybe. I think the Nets, there's so much hubris. They're so brazen. I think they might spot you a 3-0 lead just to like, because they're so ego, then they'll slip up.
See, this is what I'm hoping for, and this will make this series worth it. I want us to get our first ever load management rest game in the playoffs.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Like, what if they just like, let's rest game 3. Let's rest game 3.
Like, especially like Kyrie's like, I'm gonna take this one off, guys. You got this.
And they might need to. I mean, I don't know if you've watched Kevin Durant during a game. They're working on him the entire time. He's not allowed to sit still. They think that Achilles is going to pop if they just give it any chance to. So we might see that. Oh, I love that idea, guys. Brilliant.
Right, we need it.
And I will say, everyone is hating on Blake Griffin. Everyone's saying he didn't try in Detroit. My dude is the Pistons 2021 MVP. We would have won 3 more games if you tried, baby. We got the most ping pong balls. That's the only thing that matters when you have a bad NBA team or if you're visiting a Vietnamese strip club. Okay. I think we got one more series here. We got a thrilling one. I made some money on this bad boy last year. Milwaukee versus Miami. People are unfair to Giannis, right? No great player won by the time they were 25.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think the Milwaukee-Miami thing, too, is similar to Denver-Portland, where I think the money's in the wrong spot right now. Like, Milwaukee is better. Milwaukee's better than Miami. It's in the same Miami team. And they get Drew Holiday now. Like, Drew Holiday matters. Like, he's good. It's not Drew Holiday, Eric Bledsoe. Just remember that. Remember Eric Bledsoe was on this team. He is bad, and this is an automatic upgrade. So I think they it might be an ugly, slow series, but I think Milwaukee gets through.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If Miami steals that game 1, they get a little bit of momentum. So the playoffs, they are kicking off tomorrow on this game for a reason. It's the best game of the weekend. If you need to talk to your wife, your old lady, whatever partner you have that's messing with your schedule, 2 o'clock Saturday is the window you need to negotiate for, because I think this game one could be the best of the first round.
Yeah, I'm with you though. If they do steal game one, everybody's bums tighten up a little bit. Giannis is going to be a little bit nervous.
Yeah, and I do want Miami to win just because the only impression I can do is Duncan Robinson.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah, you just got to act like a real dead-eyed weirdo. Make your mouth look like a fish's. Okay, so thank you for hanging out with us, Mike. Do you have what series should we look out for? What is the Zakarian recommendation of the best enjoyment over the next couple weeks?
See, I'm nervous they're going to make it the like NBA TV, YouTube Red series or whatever, but Denver, Portland is where I'm at. I think those games are going to be close. I think Denver's going to win, but I think those games are going to be close and high scoring, and that's going to be a lot of fun. And then if like the Suns steal game one, I think then I'm excited about that series too.
I think so. It's appointment viewing for the Suns, and I'll be real. I spent all day hanging out with my lady. I took her to lunch. I let her take me clothes shopping just so I can like get her out of my hair for the weekend.
You're locked in.
So I put a link in the private chat. That's Mike's Substack. Will you share that screen?
Oh yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah. So Mike, will you tell the people about what you're doing with your Substack in the NBA playoffs?
Yeah. So I, like all good things, waited until the season was over before to start doing anything creatively with it. But yeah, I'm gonna start breaking down some fun stuff with the playoffs and try to get some like 1 or 2 posts or articles out a week, just kind of breaking down stuff, not necessarily intellectual content, but it's like a fun hang while we're breaking down the playoffs. So the first one came out today.
Yeah, if you guys like this stream and you're thinking not enough reading was involved, Mike's Substack is the thing to do.
Yeah, it's exactly what this was just like a few words.
Yeah, it's like watching sports in a bar with your friends meets visiting a library.
Exactly, which is what we're all hoping for.
No, I don't mean to clown Mike. I think the world of this guy. I'm so glad you came on, and I'll be talking the playoffs with you in person, in life, and maybe back on here again.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys. This was a blast.
All right.
For sure.
Peace, Mike. And to the good people of Fitzy GFY, thank you for hanging out with us today. We will be back early next week talking about what's going to happen next week, talk about where we're going to put our money, and maybe talking to some more funny people about some things to look for in the NBA playoffs. Until the next edition of Joel's Untitled Basketball Show, this is Joel Walkowski walking off.